Hey guys, Kurt here with NK Garage again, and today we're going to be doing some Plasti Dip. Not the spray can kind, the old school, Plasti Dip in a can, dip your tools kind. I've always known about it, never tried it, and now that I'm getting all these old vintage tools, and a lot of them, come with the steel handles, I decided maybe I'll try some Plasti Dip, see what it's all about. So let's take a look at what we got, and let's get into it. All right, Nick, you want to show the old viewers what we're looking at here?
So you're not going to need too many things to do this. We have two tools here that we did one initial coat on the other day. That was a little bit of a learning experience for us. I didn't read the instructions fully. I thought I did, but I missed out on a crucial part that I'm going to tell you about today. So to start, you're going to get yourself assembled whatever tools you feel like you're going to be dipping. In this case, we have...
These are some old Boker tools, some old Boker pliers, the H Boker. I got a pair of linemans pliers here and a pair of needle nose pliers. And I picked these tools just because they have the smooth bottoms. I have some older tools that have the, engraving and all the, detail work on the handles. And I don't really want to cover up all that nice, vintage handiwork. So we're just doing the smooth handle ones.
So these two have been dipped once. Just one coat. Now Plasti Dip, it says on there that you could dip it as many times as you want. If you want the thickest of thick handles, you could just keep on dipping it. So we got one coat on there. We're going to go for two today.
Yeah, I'd say one is really light. Like you barely can feel the difference between steel and one coating.
I think a warm environment is better. The last time we did this, so this room is not heated. Today we have a little propane heater going. Room is probably 70 degrees or so. And we warmed the Plasti Dip up prior. So to start, we have some isopropyl alcohol. We're going to go ahead, wet down a paper towel here.
You could use acetone.
Anything to clean that rust off.
The alcohol, is just something that we have here handy. And
you can see just one white.
It's not as harsh as the acetone, but it'll definitely do the job. But if you want to really clean your tool, especially if it's really dirty, acetone is definitely a really good cleaner.
Not mentioned, Kurt already hit these on the wire wheel, so they are free of any heavy corrosion. So now those can have a second to dry. Here's our Plasti Dip. We went with good old black, nothing special.
Well, it is funny. I mean, on the can, they have the yellow handle. That actually fooled me. I actually thought I was getting yellow. I thought they just had yellow at the store. So I grabbed this and it ended up being black.
The color is printed
tell you
on the
right
cap.
Here on the cap. So we ended up with black, but I have nothing. I have no problem with black. I actually kind of prefer that over the yellow, I think. Let's do it.
You're going to want a mixing apparatus. This is where we went wrong last time. I missed the instruction in the directions. It says to mix it up. So there's just a piece of copper wire here. You can wipe this off when you're done with it. You don't have to just let it build up with Plasti Dip. But make sure we have this nice and mixed. If you don't, you kind of get a lumpy application and just doesn't look very good. Another thing is have what you're going to hang your tools on prepped for you for when your tools come out of the Plasti Dip. You don't want to have to be able to put them down on your table. You want to hang them from something. In this case, we're just using more of this copper wire. This just came right out of conduit. You can cut it, you can bend it, and then you can hang it, preferably somewhere warm. So now this is mixed up.
Now we're dipping our wire too.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a wipe just so I don't have a Plasti Dip coated wire. And then we'll get this out of the way. So big thing on the instructions is dip speed. They want 5 seconds per 1 inch of tool. So on a tool like this, you probably have 3.5 to 4 inches. That means it's going to take 20 seconds to dip it and 20 seconds to pull it out. The more steady you are, the better application you're going to get. So really slowly, I'm going to put it in there. Now, I found that if you kind of twist it back and forth, you get a bit more of an even application. This stuff still is pretty thick, even though it's been warmed up. And if you don't do the twist, it kind of applies at an angle. So I'm going to dip it right up until the point where it gets into that tight V. I'm not going to go too far. Give it a couple twists. And we're going to start pulling it out nice and slow.
I think in this demonstration we're definitely going over the 20-second rule, but I'd say there's probably nothing wrong with going slow. It's just definitely don't go too fast. I mean, you don't want to take all day, but you want to make sure you're doing it evenly and you don't go too fast.
So you can see I got a little rubbage there. So when I was coming up, these are a little wide. It rubbed on the outlet of this can. That is one downfall to buying this can. You're stuck with this size. Maybe something like a peanut butter jar would be more applicable. These bigger pliers are actually skinnier, so those will be easier. But
those ones were actually kind of wide. I picked them because they're the steel handle, but they are a bit wide, which definitely, was something we didn't think about.
That was a rookie move. Since this isn't a great application, this stuff doesn't really even out well on its own. We're going to have to wipe this off and start again. So we may not do these in this video. But that is a learning experience for you.
Unless we do one side at a time.
I think that might be the move on this one. So
I don't know if that'll work either because it might not be able to get it deep enough.
Well, it is what it is.
Let's try the big ones.
It's like Kurt said, I think too fast is not good. Too slow is all right. We're not selling these tools as is, so I'm not going for the most perfect application. Now I think these might be a little tall. We might not be able to get as deep into that V. We'll see. Nope, we're there. I just hit the bottom. So this is a perfect depth for this tool. Start pulling it out now. It's looking pretty good. Now Kurt mentioned it's kind of dumb, but every time you use this, you're removing Plasti Dip out of the can. So you're going to be able to dip less and less tall of an item every time.
So the easiest solution to that is just make sure you have two cans and you can top the can that you use to dip off with the new can, or like Nick said, if you want to get yourself a bigger dipping device, just make it sure it's something that you can seal well after use, maybe like a mason jar. Peanut butter jar could also work if you got a nice sealing cap. You don't want to have too much airspace in there.
So now that we have this dipped, I'm going to open it up like this. We already have set up over here just some copper wire, like I said, so it's hanging from the pegboard. Just going to hook this in here, not hit the Plasti Dip, and we will let this hang overnight. And then if tomorrow we want to do another coat, we could do another coat. So while this Plasti Dip over here is still wet, we'll wipe it off.
And maybe we made a mistake on purpose so we could show you, how you can clean up your mistake.
This is planned.
It's a tutorial video.
Trust us, we never make any mistakes.
This is the internet, and I wouldn't lie to you.
Never. So you're gonna want to make sure you do a decent job cleaning this off. This stuff does stick pretty well, even in its wet form. So we're gonna get that clean. And then like Kurt said, I think what we're gonna do is dip one side at a time. It's all over me. All right, we are clean.
Another fun fact about Plasti Dip is it does help insulate your tools if you are working near electricity. But I would definitely read the instructions and make sure you get a good insulation. I'd probably do a couple dips just to make sure in case you get any nicks, cracks, or peeling later on. You want to have good insulation value. So you're definitely going to want to do a good job if you are trying to insulate something. But for example, like say you wanted to insulate this screwdriver, you could dip up to, the tip or something, any screwdriver, nut driver, so that if you're inside of an electrical panel or something, you don't have to worry about hitting the side against something, just the metal tip.
So it's looking way better. Once again, not perfect. My speed was not great on that one, but what I'm finding is now what I have to do is we'll dip it. And I have to actually tip the can to get the level of the Plasti Dip to come up a little higher. Spinning it just to get coverage all the way around.
Yeah, and if you happen to accidentally knock the needle into the side of the can, it's not a big deal. We can clean just that section off later.
Pretty good. Not perfect, but it's never going to be as perfect as if you buy it already coated. I didn't get this section right there, but we'll get it up on the copper.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather have an old pair of well-made pliers than a new junky pair, and just dip them myself if I wanted the grip.
So now we're going to go for a second coat on these guys. I don't know what happened. Oh, that was just some junk. I tapped into the lid yesterday. So by the looks of it, we should have enough depth here to dip this fully. So in we go. When you get to the bottom of your dip, you definitely want to pause and spin it. Let that Plasti Dip even out, or else you get that funny angle. Sounds like it might be raining outside. That is nice. Now we can start to see the thickness. That looks really good.
Yeah.
I didn't go as deep this time on that left side. You can see the overlap just a little bit maybe on the camera. But that's all right. The main actual section where you're going to be grabbing got a good coat. So I broke my rule. I didn't prep another copper section. Good thing I'm right next to tools. I'm just using copper because it's easy to bend. And we hang it up.
Yeah, and a good note is yesterday we had hung the tools up and we were hanging them pretty close, and Nick went and bumped into them and they hit each other and ruined the Plasti Dip. So make sure you put them in a safe area and that you have enough distance between where they're not going to hit into each other. Over here is pretty safe, and this distance is okay. We know they're not going to knock into each other on their own, and we're not going over here anytime soon to grab anything.
You want to dip our final tool?
Let's do it. This one here is actually a pair of her brand cutting pliers. Those are pretty cool. And let's get them dipped.
I think I'm actually going to switch it up, Kurt. I don't like the blue on this channel lock.
No!
I'm just kidding. I would never do that. That's crazy talk. Here we go. You know the deal. Relatively slow. You can go whatever speed you want. It's your tools. If you try this out and find that you can dip super fast, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going by the manufacturer specifications, and it's seemed to work pretty good for us so far. Pause right at that top spot. A little wiggle jiggle. Start coming out. You know, I didn't think I'd like the black, but it's growing on me.
Yeah, you know, I probably wouldn't have chose the black out of all the colors. I probably would have chose a vibrant color. But the black is a little... What'd you do there?
I tapped it. You know, it's deceiving. So this is one of those lids that normally you'd have like one of those flip top pull deals, and there's an inner lip, and it gets you. 2 failures on camera. Can't even say that this one was planned.
What happens if you dip it again?
Well, it's wet.
Maybe it's just super thick. I don't know.
We'll figure out on camera for you guys.
We're going just for trial and error, and ideas. The error isn't too bad, and this will give us an idea when it comes out. What a double dip on the same application might do. Will it help? Will it make it worse?
We'll see. Stuff definitely has a funny smell to it. Alright. This time I gotta be really careful. If you have shaky hands, you might want to get your buddy.
Don't drink coffee while you do this.
These are a little wider. This is tricky.
Every time they go in, they get a little wider.
It's like the game Operation. It looks a little lumpy.
It's a little lumpy.
And we have some bridging up the top there. I don't know about that. Let's split that before it gets... Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's for grip.
So when you wipe it, let's see, will it bring us back to
I'm almost curious. Why don't we let it dry and see what the removal process is like?
Okay. Yeah, because we did that on purpose.
Yeah. This was just for show for you guys. So we're going to let this dry. I think we're going to film the removal of dried Plasti Dip.
As well as how the other tools came out.
That's right.
To show you that we actually can do it properly.
That's right. This was all part of the plan.
Because those keyboard warriors out there are going to tell me that I don't know how to do this.
And they're right.
Hey, it wouldn't be a good tutorial video if I looked like an expert and then everybody got mad trying to do what I'm doing and can't figure it out. You got to see and you got to learn from my mistakes so you don't make them yourself.
That's right. Cap it when you're done, or else you're going to end up with a Plasti Dip can. Not good.
All right, we'll check back in tomorrow.
Hurry up and wait. We're back for part 2, even though this is still part of the same video. See how our Plasti Dip experiment turned out. So you can see in front of us, I have labeled these 2 on the left. They have been dipped twice, versus the 2 on the right. They only got a single dip. You can really see that apparently on this guy. I think a second dip would fill in some of these imperfections here, if you're going for that look. Now you may remember in that last clip, we had some issues with this guy. When it came out, we touched on the side. It's kind of a little lumpy. Had those little grip fingers. So you can see it's dried out. Doesn't look too bad. I wouldn't say by any means it's professional. Maybe a second dip would take care of a lot of that. But I'm curious, Kurt's curious, and you probably may be curious. Once Plasti Dip is on here and dry, what's the removal process look like? So we're going to take it over to the wire wheel. See, is it as easy as 1, 2, 3? So yeah, it's coming off pretty easy. So now that I kind of got it started, oh, look at that. So yeah, if you mess up, take it over here, and you find that you've messed up your Plasti Dip, quick hit on the wire wheel or anything sharp like an X-Acto knife here, you can always just take it off and start over. So, or maybe you only want to be comfortable on one side of your pliers. It's up to you. That was actually really easy. I'm glad to see that that's, you know, easy enough to remove. And For 2 dips, I mean, that's a pretty strong coating. It's very rubbery. I think maybe 3 would be the optimal dip layer, I'd say.
Yeah.
Not bad. 1 is definitely too thin. Maybe if you're just trying to protect your tool, but it's really not enough. 2, this is a pretty good layer, honestly. 1 more, I think, would be perfect. But I think that really concludes our experiment. Hopefully that helps some of you guys out for maybe if you're thinking about doing this or trying it out. Now you kind of have a base of what to and what not to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys again for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned a couple things. I think we learned a couple things just making this video. But yeah, hit that like button, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed and you like our videos. And then go check out Nick's channel. Link is, on our profile. You can go check that out. And it's got a channel all about our landscaping business and projects that we do over there, like retaining walls and excavation, drainage work, equipment work, mini excavators, skid steers, brush clearing.
Yeah. That, or if you just like catching a look at this guy.
This is Fitzsimmons.
Oh yeah.
All right. Fitz, you wanna end the video? You wanna say goodbye?
Goodbye.